Hello and welcome to the Film Comment Podcast. My name is Mac Taylor,
My name's DJ.
and we are coming at you from the ever sought Nerd Cave, which we are finally podcasting from. DJ, how's it feel to be podcasting from the Nerd Cave? About time is right. Is this our first podcast from the Nerd Cave? Like our first film vomit first film vomit from the. So we're breaking records here. Film vomit from the Nerd Cave.
Yeah, we did that 70 show thing.
Yeah, and I also did another podcast out of here. But like as film vomit goes, this is number one. Numero uno on the
record books.
Definitely so, movie. Yes. And we are talking about which is
top 3 greatest movies of all time.
DJ is obsessed with this movie. He was basically, it was like we had to do this movie this year.
It was the luck of the Irish that we got it there.
Yeah, it was. Like I put it on the list with the other ones, but like it was your first one that you told me.
Yeah.
Put on there. So it's and it was like one of the first ones picked. So you kind of got lucky with that draw.
I'm not mad. This is a movie that I've literally enjoyed watching. Like I can watch it every day if I really had to. But
so there's the countless times you viewed this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've watched this movie 4 times now.
So you've watched it twice since?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I watched it one time in high school.
And you watched it last week.
Twice.
Wow, that's a great movie.
I watched it by myself. Watched it with you, and I went in. Well, I caught it on TV. I watched it through one of those things. I was like,
I probably watched this movie 4 times in a matter of 2 days, if not 1 day.
You watched it yesterday?
No, I watched it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into this thing here. DJ, do you wanna do the walking through, and I'll just go through notes, or do you want me to walk through and you just stop me whenever?
Just go ahead and walk through. From the get-go, just kind of both walk through.
All right, cool. We'll do it that way. So we get this backstory kind of about the Cowboys and why they're kind of like how the Old West kind of was.
Which is Robert Mitchum.
Robert Mitchum.
I like his voice. His
voice
it
does have that nice deep, voice. Growling,
very
westerny.
Western voice.
Yes.
To me, it adds a lot of character to that beginning narrative. So, like from the bat, it's really good. You get a little old school. I'm assuming movies because they didn't have cameras back then, but old school movies. With the black and white guns shooting in the air and stuff. Kind of giving you that old school feel.
Yeah. And then we cut to said Cowboys they were talking about in the opening narration. They break up a wedding of some sort.
To me, it seemed like it was the.
It was like the law.
It was the law of Mexico Federales.
Yeah, one of them was getting married, and they decided to show up and kill people and send a message, right?
Yes,
I'm leaving this open ended
because apparently these Federales killed 2 cowboys.
Yes,
and they know that because the Cowboys wear this red sash or bandana,
so you can tell who they are.
That's like the Crips.
The guy originally like a bandana for a gang.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's their signia.
Yeah.
So they killed 2 cowboys, and they are showing. Going to kill these guys because hey, you don't fuck with the Cowboys.
Sending a message to any law around the parts that you don't mess with the Cowboys.
Basically, they run a town, Tombstone.
They tell a guy to get on his knees, and he doesn't.
And he's the head federale, assuming.
So yeah, assumingly he's like kind of like the sheriff or whatever. And the guy doesn't want to kneel, and so they shoot him in the knee. So he falls.
Somebody get this fool on his knees.
And he shoots him, and he falls to his knees.
He's very proud, man.
And then basically the preacher comes up to them and he's speaking about a pale horse sat on by death, bringing hell with him.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadows
some massive
foreshadowing later, and they just shoot the guy and kind of continue on with their thing.
Johnny Ringo
shoots the man.
Who is like the Billy Badass in this one.
He's like the number 2 in the group.
Yeah, he becomes the leader, and he's the second in command of the whole Cowboys regiment. He is the one that they all fear.
Mhm.
Like he is
He's the broken one.
terrifying, no soul.
Yes. Then we cut to Wyatt Earp, who has come to this town, and a man tries to like whip his horse, and he whips the guy.
Yeah, they're pulling the horse off, and he's beating the horse off, and he comes over and grabs him in the middle of the swing, and then he takes it back and starts beating him. He goes, "How does that feel?"
And this is our intro to Kurt Russell playing Wyatt Earp.
Love Kurt Russell playing Wyatt Earp in this. He does a phenomenal job. The cast in this, everybody does a phenomenal job.
And that facial hair.
Oh yeah,
His mustache is amazing.
Man. So it actually, like, come to find out that in this, so Kurt Russell plays Wyatt Earp.
Right.
Virgil, the older brother, is
played by Sam Elliott.
And then
the younger brother,
Morgan
is played by Bill Paxton, the late Bill Paxton.
The late great Bill Paxton.
Yes, of course.
Second favorite movie of his.
What's the first?
Twister. Yeah,
I don't know. I like Bill Paxton in a lot of Predator 2. He was really great.
I don't know. I won't count. It's not a movie. It was a mini series on history. The Hatfields and McCoys. He plays.
Yeah.
I think he was the leader of the Hatfields, if I remember correctly. And Kevin Costner was the leader of the McCoys. It might have been backwards.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Bill Paxton plays Morgan, and then my personal favorite Val Kilmer role, Doc Holliday. He blew this role out of the water.
But before we meet Doc Holliday, they kind of people come to Wyatt Earp and kind of offer him the
right as soon as they got off the train, you get some marshals walking up to him, and they're like, "You Wyatt Earp?" And he goes, "Not interested," without even hesitation.
Because he knows they want.
And they're like, he's like, "You haven't even heard the offer yet." And he goes, "I don't care. I'm not interested." I love this role because he's like going to Tombstone to start a mining, or it's like mining or whatever, gold or whatever. Like, oh, so you're seeking
it's like a gold rush town, and he's basically just trying to find a way to make money.
He's like, oh, so you're looking for fortune. And the marshal goes, well, I've never seen a rich man
without a guilty conscience.
And I love this line because it's so true.
Go ahead,
he's like, well, I've already got the guilty conscience, so why not have the money come with it?
Damn straight.
Got him. Yeah, good.
That's a great line for sure. And then we also meet the brothers' wives. I mean, Wyatt's wife, who is kind of hinted at right now that she has an opium addiction.
Yes, hardcore. Which back then it was like basically headaches and painkillers.
Yeah, like their cough medicine had opium in it. So it's like, don't drink too much of it.
Opium was
addictive, like highly addictive.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, like now that wouldn't be a thing.
And she was chugging through these bottles throughout the movie.
Yes, we see, but like at the start, she's just like, "Oh no, I'll be careful," but she's like drinking a little too much.
Oh yeah,
it's some foreshadowing happening there. And then they talk about why it's like, "Oh, I miss that Doc Holliday," and it's funny because Virgil's like, "I don't."
Yeah, it's like Virgil didn't like Doc at all.
And you can even see like how they look at each other. Like he just does not like Doc Holliday at all.
Yeah,
because Doc's very brash.
But for some reason,
Wyatt just loves
Wyatt
him.
and Doc got along so great. But just real quick, just read that Richard Gere was almost cast as Wyatt Earp, and William Dafoe was almost cast as Doc Holliday.
Which would have been a very strange choice.
Very different type of a movie, I feel like.
I don't feel like Richard Gere could have carried the role as well as Kurt Russell.
No. Like I'm not downing on Richard.
Not
Gere
downing on Richard Gere
at all. I don't
see
him as that.
But Kurt Russell has a powerful performance in this movie. And Doc Holliday, like this is Val Kilmer's like claim to fame.
Like to me, this is Val Kilmer's
end all be all.
Hands down best.
So it's hard to see anybody else do it.
So to hear William Dafoe call it Your Daisy If You Do, or Say When, anything it just doesn't fit.
Yeah. Like maybe Willem Dafoe could have been like one of the Johnny Ringo even.
I don't know. Like I would have seen William Dafoe as in the Wyatt Earp movie, the actual Wyatt Earp movie that's with Kevin Costner and Dennis Quaid. He could have played Doc Holliday in that rather than Dennis Quaid. Even
then, it's just like that one's not as well known because it's Tombstone. People know Tombstone. But then that's couldn't be what could have been. But then we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. We do meet Doc Holliday, who is he's he's playing cards, he's winning a lot of money, he's like having fun with his woman.
Because Doc Holliday moved out west because he has TB. And he was supposed to be in dry air, and that's supposed to help, which obviously back then it really didn't do all that much help. So he's coughing up and everything, coughing up blood, sweating nonstop, drinking, smoking.
And it gets progressively worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gets paler. Oh, yeah. His lips start getting blue.
And so he does that, and he's sitting there at the table, and he accuses him of cheating, right?
Yeah. He's like, nobody's that lucky or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you saying you're not my friend anymore?
I said, I don't think I can bear it.
And then he pulls the two guns. Like, he's a fast draw. He's like, you're drunk. I'm not afraid of you and your guns. He's like he's very quick on this draw.
Yeah, and then gives him the line and says, you're nothing without your guns. So he puts his guns on the table. And they give him a little tussle, and he stabs him. I forget what he says, but along the lines of he's rubbing it in his face, basically, not being a badass. It's proving that he's a badass.
Even though he's dying of tuberculosis, he's going to kill you if he wants to. Yeah. Then we also we get this thing with him and his woman. It's like a lovely romance, really, between the two, because they're like so bad for each other, but like that's what draws them to each other.
It's like he's the bad boy and she was this girl. Like, she is wholeheartedly in love with him because
he's the bad boy.
He's the bad boy, and she'll do anything for him. And she knows he's dying. They don't really focus on it, but you see it. Like, you can see the connection they have throughout.
It's like a Bonnie and Clyde
kind of, yeah.
Then they cut back to Wyatt and the brothers, and they meet the marshal of the area, or some odd title.
Fred Jones. U.S. Marshal which is the town, and then the sheriff, which is the county back then. So it's Fred Jones, I think is his last name. It's Fred White.
And he tells them on how the Cowboys control everything. Yeah. They kind of say what goes. And he also says that the Oriental, which is one of the casinos, hotels, they were all saloon casino type deals. He's like, yeah, that's usually what has a lot of money in it, but nobody goes near it because there's a guy in there causing trouble all the time. So of course, Wyatt Earp immediately walks over to it.
And this is where you get introduced to Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, a very
chunky, fat. He's very
Billy Bob Thornton. Did he gain weight for the role, or was he already the size?
I don't know. I'm gonna assume he was probably already the size because for such a small role, I wouldn't think it would matter the size.
But like I never could imagine. Like, he's always sort of so skinny.
Oh yeah.
So it's like,
I almost wonder if he has. I don't know. Have to
yeah, that's
another role towards that.
Maybe, time. And he just happened to be this big. Because I've never seen him that size. Yeah. And so Wyatt goes there, and he sees the guy. He's causing trouble, waving his gun around.
Being a dick, mouthing off to everybody. If anybody beats him, he's talking shit.
Yeah. So Wyatt goes over there and basically says, "You got the lines ready to go."
I don't know perfectly off the top of my head, but basically he tells him to get up. That's his chair. That's what he said. You're sitting in my chair.
Is that right?
Is that right? That's right. And he's like, yeah.
He's smoking a cigar the whole time he's doing it.
Right, and blowing in his face, which earlier he's
like, get that cigar smoke out of my face.
So it's kind of funny that he was blowing a cigar right in his face. And he gets up, and like Johnny Tyler's like, I'm not scared of you. He goes, yeah, you are. I can see it in your eyes.
He smacks him.
Like, he bitch slaps him.
Like, hard.
Like, 3 or 4 times too.
He's like, come on.
He's like, come on, do something. And he's like, skin that smoke wagon.
Yeah, skin that smoke wagon. Go on.
Because he's got his hand on his pistols waiting.
He's like, come on, draw it on me.
Like the intensity of this little scene, because you see like Billy Bob's eyes.
The fear is
like he actually looks afraid, like they're wide open, and he's just looking like he's debating on whether to draw down on him and shoot.
And then he doesn't, so he grabs him by the ear and he throws him out of the place. He says, "Don't you ever come back in here." Then he turns to the bartender. He's like, "All right, I guess."
What is 25% of the
house take?
So he just I forget what game it was. I can't even remember the name. Like that, they literally only said at that point. Like when he walks out, he runs back into Virgil and Morgan, and he tells them, "Hey, we just got a 25% cut, a quarter cut at the Oriental." I can't remember what game it is.
Yeah, but basically, he's like, "We got money in flow, and we've been here for like 20 minutes."
Right.
Because he had to go in and be a badass. And then, but while he's talking, that Johnny Tyler's coming back.
Well, you skip. Doc Holliday comes in the picture.
Sure.
They're walking down the street and they're talking, and then Doc Holliday comes up, and they're reminiscing and catching up, and Virgil and Morgan and everything, and talking to Dwight. No, you were right.
Yeah,
you were right.
Because he sneaks up on them with a shotgun.
He's coming up behind with a shotgun,
and then Doc goes, "Johnny Tyler!" He turns around, he's like, "Doc?
Doc, I didn't know you was back in town."
And then
Doc goes up to Virgil and Wyatt and Morgan, and Johnny Tyler's sitting there with the double barrel, just chilling.
Yeah.
And they're just ignoring him like he's not even
They're
there.
talking, and he's like, Wyatt Earp. And the other guy's like, Wyatt Earp? And then Doc turns to him and goes, "Oh, Johnny, I'm sorry. I forgot you were there.
You may go now." And
he's like, "Huh?"
And he starts walking away, and Wyatt goes,
Leave that shotgun.
Leave that shotgun.
He goes to hand it to him. And he's like, "Leave it right there on the ground." Like a child, like you would say to a child.
At this point, then, like it's everybody carried a gun back then. Wyatt does not carry a gun. It's kind of like it's against it in a sense.
But he's saying, "I'm not here for law. I'm here to make money. So let me not pose myself a threat unless I need to physically assert myself."
He's like, "I'm not here for the violence.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm making my money and I'm getting out." But you don't threaten him.
Don't fuck with him, dude.
And everyone knows the name too, because as soon as he hears that that's Wyatt Earp, he's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh no, that's why he beat my ass earlier."
that's why I was so scared.
And then what's that guy? He's like kind of the law, but he hangs out with the cowboys.
Kidwell?
Yeah. But he goes up to him and he's like, "This is a very advanced town. It's a very and then all of a sudden you see two people getting shot outside, and Doc goes, "Oh yes, very cosmopolitan."
That's Cactus Jack
and it's Creek Johnson. Something.
Texas Jack.
Yeah. And Fred goes up to him. He's like, "All right, boys, I'm about to take those guns." I'm like, "Oh, come on, it was a fair fight." He's like, "All right." Behan? Yeah. But it's just funny how Doc always has a quip.
Always.
So he says that. He goes,
that's my favorite part about his role is because
he's always on. He's always
ready.
There's
so many one-liners in this movie, and 90% of them are from Doc.
Yeah. Like your shirt is most
90% of this.
Doc Holliday quotes.
90% of the shirt is probably Doc Holliday quotes.
It's pretty great. Yeah, this is very cosmopolitan.
Well, it's funny is because Behan is walking by when they're talking, and Wyatt calls him over. And is like, "Behan, have you met Doc Holliday?"
Oh yeah, he goes, "Piss on you, Wyatt."
Because it's like Doc Holliday has this. He's the bad boy.
Yeah, and he's always like running from the law or stuff.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say
running from the law. He's a con man. So you don't want to go hanging out with cops.
Exactly.
So he's like, "Fuck off,
piss
Wyatt.
on you,
Come
Wyatt."
on."
Well, it's great because it's like just the way
they interact with each other, like they fuck with each other.
It's not that he doesn't, but even the wording, he doesn't say "fuck off," Wyatt. It's like "piss on you," Wyatt. I don't know. Like I thought it's just the whole perfect narrative is great.
It just shows their friendship. They do mess with each other a lot.
Oh yeah.
Then we meet the lady which catches Wyatt Earp's eye. She shows up in town, and she's immediately taken with him too, because she asked who that tall drink of water is, which is what they used to say back then.
And that other guy is like talking about him, like
he says, "A man
standing there, the sun beating off the brow of his eye."
He has the look of both predator and prey. And she goes, "I want one." And he goes, "Happy hunting." like
it's very.
It's a very odd exchange, and like she's one of those girls.
This
like,
is Dana Delaney.
Yeah, she's a man eater.
Yeah, like she's straight up.
And then we cut to the theater where the Cowboys are kind of being rowdy. They're shooting the ceiling. They're messing with the axe, except for the actor boy who they mess with a little bit, but they like him because they think he's good.
Yeah.
And then the girl, obviously, they're like, "That's a hot girl."
Well, they can't. They didn't
Well,
know who it
at
was
first
at
they're like,
first.
"What is going on
Yeah.
here?" And like when they're talking about like the little plays about a man making a deal with the devil, and Curly Bill, who's like the leader of the Cowboys, he's like, "Huh? Could you imagine making a deal with the devil?
What would you? And he asked Ringo, he's like,
Would you make a
what would your
deal?"
deal be? No, he said, what would your deal
Yeah.
be? And he goes, I've already made mine.
He's like, "I've already made it."
Ooh.
And then
he says it with that
Yeah.
intensity of the eye, like
it's like a coldness.
It is very.
And then we cut to Doc, who's seeing Wyatt stare at this lady, and he knows that like he likes
What does
her.
he say to him? He says something. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I didn't write it down, but he says like a smart ass quip,
He makes a smart ass.
and Doc just kind of looks at him
And
like,
Maddie, Wyatt's wife,
is
hears
right
it. It's
there.
Like she hears it. Like, you know, it's not like he's hiding it. She
And
hears it.
he
It's
doesn't
kinda
give a
like-
shit either.
Yeah.
Because he does it right by her on purpose. And then outside, Morgan talks about spirituality and like there being a light when you die and things
Yeah.
like that.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And then basically Wyatt's like, "Yeah, you guys want to go get drunk at the saloon?" And Virgil's wife's like, "No, we're gonna fuck." That's basically what she says.
She's like, yeah, not tonight. He's my old man.
Yeah,
He's got that Irish accent,
which is hot, but it's like they're gonna fuck.
Yeah, they're going
Like,
bang.
she and like, yeah, like it's some crazy shit's gonna be happening back at that place. So
And then Morgan's wife is like, all right, see you later, because Morgan and Wyatt are gone. And
Yeah.
Maddie is like, come home with me. And he's like, I can't. I gotta go work, because they're gonna go work, not drink. They're gonna go work.
yeah, they're drinking.
Well, they are, but they're going to work.
This is the West. Everyone is kind of
Everyone's
drunk
always
all the
drunk.
time because it sucks.
Always.
Like that's the only
It's
way to get
hot.
through it.
It's always hot.
It's hot.
And
You're wearing
everybody's
all those
wearing
layers,
suits.
all
Everybody's
those
wearing suits, and
layers,
it's hot all the time.
and
So
people are
hot.
getting shot all the time.
Like, you literally walk
So there's rotting flesh smell all the time. So like I would be drunk all the time too if this was life.
Understandable.
So people were drinking opium as cough medicine. Like Jesus Christ, man. And then during this guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm feeling lucky," and then they end up getting mining, like they own mining
They
companies.
get mining stakes.
Yeah, because Wyatt takes them and he's like, "We're in the mining business now."
Yeah.
And then Doc he inquires about Wyatt's faithfulness this night. He's like, "You telling me if that girl walked in right now, you'd just ignore her?"
And Wyatt plays it. I'm like, what girl? And he goes,
He's like, "You know exactly which one I'm talking about."
And he goes, well, yeah.
He's like, "Yes, I would ignore her." And he's like,
And
I'll remember you said
I'll remember
that.
you say that. And as soon as that happens, she walks in the door. And
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Ah!" And everybody's like, she's literally like, one guy just goes up and just starts dancing with her, and then another guy.
She's
steals-
drawn the attention, and so is the other guy. It's kind of implied that the deputy and this guy are gay together. The deputy with the glasses
Oh,
and
Billy.
the mustache.
That's Billy Claiborne. Fun fact about Billy Claiborne, his real name,
Hmm.
Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp's fifth cousin.
But like, it's kind of implied that they were gay together. Because when he saw him on stage, he's like, "Oh, he's wonderful." And then later, he's like, "Come sit right here and talk to me." And then we'll talk about it a little later too. But it's kind of implied, at least, not that they did anything, but that they were kind of smitten with each other.
I mean, it could have been. I've never really looked at it like that. I just looked at it.
I don't know. I cued in on that pretty quickly.
I mean, I can cue in on it, but
I mean, this was the old West. This thing didn't really
yeah, they're not gonna
fly.
come out like, oh yeah.
But,
I
like,
get it.
Behind closed doors, it's a possibility. And even if they didn't do anything, I think he thinks in his head, like, "I like this guy."
Right.
You know? Doesn't have to be sexual. It's just like, could be a thought. With that. I picked up that vibe. Nothing is confirmed.
This is all speculation.
All speculation. And basically, she goes up to kind of ignores these guys to go up to Wyatt, who turns the other way. Literally
she
turns.
goes up to him and just like puts her arms out ready for dance, like in his face.
And he turns.
And
then Doc
straight
goes,
up, and
I stand.
Her face
drops.
Dude. It's funny as fuck.
And Doc goes, I stand corrected, Wyatt. You are in oak.
You are an oak, sir.
And you can tell Doc is like, he's more sweaty in this scene, and he's like, he just looks worse than he did in the scene.
They did a great job
with that makeup and stuff, and keeping him looking dying.
Keeping him looking like death. Like he looks like shit. There's not a time where he looks good.
No. Like, and as the movie goes on, it's just like, man, this guy's gonna die any second.
Like everybody picks up on it. Who's like, you're about to die at any second.
Then the Cowboys come in, and they warn Wyatt that the law does not fly around.
Clinton, I hate this motherfucker so much.
How does he word it? Like law
dogs don't fly around here.
Like the law just don't go around here.
Law don't fly around here, law dog.
Yeah.
Kansas City law dog.
He tries to say it again. He's like, I heard him the first time.
I heard you the first time. Oh. I hate him so much.
So I do that, and Wyatt's like, look, I'm just here to make money. I'm not here to cause you any trouble. And you're like, good. Real good.
Because law don't fly around here, law dog.
I heard you the first time you said it. And then Ringo and Doc have a little bit of an exchange, kind of like, because they're kind of the Billy Badasses of their respected groups.
They're both vastly known gunslingers.
Yeah.
Like fastest hands in the West type of deal.
So Ringo takes his pistol out and he does this little hand flips.
Well, first off, I want to go back and they do this little exchange in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Or they might have even switched up a couple languages because I think it started out in
Spanish and ends up in Latin. Well, Latin and Spanish are close.
Yeah, because Doc was talking about Johnny Ringo. And he looks at his girlfriend. He's like, do I hate him? And she goes, you don't even know him. And then they do this.
They do a little exchange in Latin. He's like, yep, he's an educated man.
Like, Johnny Ringo turns out to be an educated man.
Yep. I hate him.
And that's
he goes, he reminds me a lot of myself. Yep, that's it. I hate him.
And that's when Ringo kind of steps up and like draws out. And then the marshal is standing over here the entire time. Yeah. We don't want no conflict in any language.
Well, he draws and points it at Doc, who does not flinch.
Doesn't flinch at all.
He's
like, just straight up gun in his barrel, doesn't move, doesn't blink, just looks at him.
And he starts doing this little hand flips, like he's spinning it, twirling it, switching hands. Which is really fast.
Oh, yeah, he's really, he's good at it.
And he puts it back in his holster, and he's like challenging Doc, and basically like,
and everybody cheers.
And then
it's like kind of like, all right, Doc, your turn.
And then Doc takes what he took a shot out of, and he's spinning it.
The cup has a handle on it. He does like the exact same move.
Which really, that should indicate to you, Doc is fast, because he's spinning that thing pretty quickly.
Yeah. And it's an itty bitty cup too, which would be harder to keep. It's not as well balanced as a pistol.
Yeah, so he's like spinning it, doing it, and he even puts it back in his belt.
Like,
everybody's laughing and clapping. Even Curly Bill's like,
Ringo's
yeah, Ringo's like, you made me look like an idiot just now. And Curly Bill's like, come on, he's just drunk. And then the whole time that this is happening, Wyatt Earp has a pistol under the table. It's like attached to the shotgun, like a cutoff, attached to the sawed off. Cut off, sawed off, it's off.
It ain't a shirt, bro. It's a cut.
I hate you right now.
I'm so glad that was on camera.
And then basically, we cut to the next day, and Wyatt runs into the girl.
Yeah, outside they're out on a ride on both the horses.
Yeah.
And he says something to her about the mare being in heat. And like they're like, all right, well, we better go our separate ways. And she goes, well, how about this? We run it out of him. And she like rides off. And he like this because he goes back to what Doc said to him the night before. Oh, hell. Yeah, I'm an oak, all right.
Yeah, and he just goes.
He charges after. Meaning and
they talk about happiness.
what they want out of life.
and then it comes up room service, like this,
Like she asked him what he wants out of life, and he goes, "Oh hell, I don't know, money,
marriage and kids.
you know."
And she's
family."
like, "That's not true."
"That's not it."
He's like,
She
"What's
goes,
your
"Well,
idea?"
what do you want? What's your idea of a happy
And she
life?"
says,
She
"Room
goes,
service." Like
And
traveling.
he like laughs at her, and she's like,
But he
"Well,"
likes that idea. He
Yeah, he
keeps
did.
saying it to himself, like room service.
because he goes home to Maddie that night.
And he's like, "What do you think about
What do you think
getting out
about
of
just
here?
getting out of here and traveling, and just
Living off
living
room
off
service."
of room service?
She's like, "Room service?"
You're crazy, Wyatt.
And she's also like high as fuck.
Oh yeah, because she's like got that bottle, and she's like sticking her finger in and like licking her finger off of it.
And he's like, "Is this the bottle she gave you?" And he looks and he sees all the empty bottles near it. He's like, "Oh no, this is like the one today." And it's like, "Ooh, yeah, she's high as fuck."
We in trouble now.
Because an opium addiction, especially in these times, is like a death
Back
sentence.
then, I don't even know if they knew really like addiction was really
Any
full
sort of
force.
addiction, alcoholism.
I don't even know if that was a full first term back then. So they were like
Yeah.
addiction.
So it's pretty much a death sentence. You're
Yeah.
going to do it till you die. So, and I think she did. We'll get to that later. But
Yeah.
a major problem is
Well, at the end of the movie, they explain like what happens to people, and
Yeah.
she does die of an opiate overdose not too long.
but yeah, that's kind of sad though. That like he's with an addict
A little bit.
in the days before an addict was a thing. Then we cut to Doc. He's playing the piano with like his woman's literally sitting like back to back with him, which I thought was like cute.
Like literally, she's like standing up, like
Yeah.
laying on. She's drunk as fuck. He's drunk as fuck.
And he's just playing the piano. And then this other cowboy comes up.
That's Billy.
His name's Billy.
His name's Billy.
A lot of Billies.
Because later it's Billy. Sorry.
So he comes up and he's like, "Why don't you play?"
Says a composer. I'm assuming his
Yeah.
name, and he's like, Doc is like, what, you know, like he
Like,
knows.
who is that?
And he's like, you know, it's whoever composed
Camptown
Lady,
Race, yeah.
Camptown Races, and
That stuff.
all that, those songs.
And then Doc says something. He's like, "What is that?" It's Francis something. It's Francis fucking something.
Gutenberg or something.
And he's like,
Francis Gutenberg, yeah.
yeah. And the guy's kind of pissed that Doc's talking to him like that.
Yeah.
Which it's Doc. He talks to everybody like that. He pisses him off. And then outside, Curly Bill's on, I'm assuming it's peyote.
Yeah.
Which is the Indian hallucinogenic. Like, it's strong as fuck. They used to take it to have visions of the future. And so he's high as fuck. And he stumbles outside and just starts firing.
Shooting at the moon.
Well, first he kind of just shoots at random things.
Yeah, he shoots.
And then he's alone in the street and he's shooting at the moon. And then Fred comes outside.
Well, first of all,
Fred doesn't want to go outside.
Behan comes into the Oriental where Fred and Wyatt and
Yeah,
Doc
and he's
and
like,
all them
Curly
are.
Bill's out there.
And he's like, Curly Bill's out there shooting up. Somebody's got to do something. And Wyatt looks straight at him. And he goes, "You're the sheriff. Do something." And he looks at Fred like, I hate Behan too. And he looks at Fred, the marshal, and he goes, "Nah, this is a town matter. This isn't county."
Yeah.
Like, dude.
So
bitch.
Fred's like, "I guess I'll go out there and do this."
And Wyatt tries to stop him. He goes,
He's like,
just
"Oh,
let him be.
Let him be."
He goes, "No, I gotta stop him."
Gotta do it. It's the law. He goes outside. He goes, "Curly Bill." And he has his gun drawn on him. Curly Bill looks at him. He's like, "Give up your guns. Come on, man." And he turns them. The handle's out. He goes to hand it to him and shoots.
He like flips it up.
He flips it and shoots the second gun into him. But it looks like he's surprised.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Fred, come on, get up." Because he's high as fuck. So he probably thinks that, like, he'll be okay. Like, I just fucked with him a little bit. And he's dead. Because he doesn't look like he knows what's happening.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. I think he shot him on purpose, but it was in a sense of like,
Yeah, he was like playing with him. He doesn't know. It's like he didn't know he was gonna die. He thought he was gonna get back up.
Right.
Because he's like, "What? Get up! Come on, Fred!
Come on, Fred!"
Didn't know you shot him in the chest. He's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's when Wyatt comes up.
Yeah.
Bashes him.
Pistol whips him. I love when they pistol whip people. Pistol whips him. He goes to arrest him.
And this is what not.
But it goes to take him to the jailhouse.
The other lawmen or some bunch of townspeople and like, hey, they killed Fred Wyatt, hang him, get a noose and all that. And
he's like,
Wyatt's
no,
like,
he'll stand
trial
torture.
just like anybody else. And at this point is where Ike comes up and Billy and a couple of the other cowboys and like turn them loose, and they all got their guns drawn and shit. And there's probably about 6 or 7 of them. And I love this part because Ike starts walking up to Wyatt like he's going to get in his face. So Wyatt takes his gun, puts it right in his face, forehead, on his forehead. I love this part.
And he's like, they may kill me in a bum rush.
He goes, you go first. They may get you. They may get me in a bum rush. But no matter what happens, you go first.
He says like, I'm going to drill. Something about a hole in his head.
It says, I'll drill a hole in your head, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Billy is like,
he's bluffing.
It's Billy Clanton.
Yeah.
And Ike and Billy are brothers. And Billy is like, he's bluffing. And Ike's
he's not
scared. Pissed.
No, he's not.
He's shaking, like literally.
Well, because you can see the look in Wyatt's eyes. It's
he's like, he's not bluffing. He'll do it. He'll kill me. And so like he tells them all to back off. And then like Billy is starting to walk over to Wyatt and says something.
And then you hear Doc from behind.
Goes, music lover.
Yeah. You. Music lover.
And he basically tells him back off, you know.
And then the other 2 Earp boys show up with shotguns.
No, you skip the part because you guys part. He goes, you're just a drunk piano player. You're so drunk, you're probably seeing 2 of me. I got 2 guns, one for each of you. And I love it. Like it's so because he draws out his knife and he's like,
yeah.
Oh, this fucking badass, dude. Yeah, and that's where Virgil and Morgan come out with the shoot
shotguns, and everybody else steps back.
Kind of scatters.
It's like, all right, it's an even fight now.
And then it flashes forward the next morning, and Ike's getting out of jail, and he gets off or not Ike. Curly Bill's getting out of jail, and he gets off because
there was no
witnesses. Because they asked Wyatt, I was like, did you see him shoot him? He goes, no, I came around the corner.
The only one that saw him shoot him was Fred, who's dead.
And Behan saw him.
But Behan ain't gonna say shit.
And the
deputy.
The girl. Yeah. She saw him, but they're not saying nothing.
Yeah, they're not saying anything because they're friends with the Cowboys.
Yeah. So, and apparently that was like, back then you didn't talk. No snitches.
Snitches are dead. There's no stitches. There's a death.
So So Curly Bill's free for murder, sheriff, or royal marshal. And then right after that, the mayor comes up again and is trying to convince Wyatt to take over as the marshal. And he's like, I told you once, I told you again, no. And then after he says no again, he goes over to Virgil.
He's like, how about you? You used to be a lawman too. He's like, I'm busy.
That's all he says. And then it kind of flashes away for a little bit. I can't remember what it flashes to, but it flashes back to just Virgil walking through the town. And then you see like this little posse, like about 6 cowboys, riding through the town shooting guns.
They almost run over a little boy and he pulls out away.
And he saves him and all that. And at that point, you're like...
Well, he looks, and it's a school teacher who he hands him to, and she's got a scar going across her eye. And it's almost like, these are broken people.
Yeah.
And if I can't continue to make... He says it later. I can't continue to make money off this town knowing these people are defenseless. Right. I can't take from these people anymore. I have to do something. Basically saying, I can't stand by and watch this anymore. This is getting hard to watch.
Which is understandable.
So Virgil goes and gets himself a badge.
Martialized?
Yeah. Something.
We'll call it that.
He's the law. And he immediately establishes a no carry in town.
No guns allowed.
No guns in town. Which, of course, the Cowboys aren't going to follow.
No.
But it's kind of his way of singling them out more.
And giving an excuse
to arrest them. Mess with them and try to be hard on them.
Which is smart.
And Wyatt goes to confront him, and it turns out Morgan also.
Morgan got martialized.
Because he's like, look, he's my brother. This is what you would do too.
Yeah. And I think Morgan, because Morgan's the youngest.
Mm-hmm. He's the least experienced.
And he was, I believe he was the lawman.
He was a lawman, but he didn't
have
to do nearly as much as Virgil or Wyatt.
So I think part of him wanted to be it too.
Yeah, he wanted to continue his career.
He wanted, have that. He wanted the action because he mentions it later. said something.
It's
about
exciting.
Wanted to kill a guy, basically, and
Like, we're the law.
Wyatt was like because I forget what he said, and I can't remember when he said it, but he brings it up and he's like talking about how he's never had to take a man's life, and he is not necessarily looking forward to it, but he's ready to do it. Like if he has to do it, he's ready to do it. And Wyatt says that's something you're never ready for.
Yeah,
like in short words, he just looks.
He's like
he's
like that's why I don't.
Ready for that.
He's like that's why I don't do this anymore. I can't live with that. Which we find it kind of like that guilty conscience he's talking about because he killed a man. And then we cut to Doc and Ike who have a dispute over cards because Ike's pissed that he's losing. Because Doc's smarter, and basically Virgil's like, just cut your losses, and Ike tries to get in Virgil's face, and Virgil's like scares the shit out of Ike. Like he's like, don't swell up on me. You're gonna regret that. Yeah. In so many words. And which, okay, if Sam Elliott is telling you not to swell up on him.
Sam Elliott's a badass, period.
Yeah. Like that voice alone, you don't want to fuck with.
Oh, God. But at this point is when Doc, like, he passes out, basically.
Yeah. Doc's coughing and he passes out, and Ike's like, good, I hope he dies. I hope he dies.
All of them leave, and he's talking mad shit about everybody. It's like, I hope he dies, and he gets his guns.
And he basically is going to go try to meet up with them.
He's threatening, is like, if I see them out on the street, I'll gun him down. And at that point,
he turns around, and Virgil's pistol whips him.
Standing there listening to it, and he turns around and bumps into him and bashes him in the forehead.
And he takes his guns and locks him up for the night. And in the morning, the Cowboys go to get him, and they're like, give him his guns. And he's like, no, we're not going to give him his guns at all.
And they're like, and then one of the Cowboys goes, just because you're the law, don't make it right. And I'm like, who the hell are you to preach?
Right.
What are you talking about, bub?
And then one of them bumps into Wyatt.
Yeah.
And he's like, watch where you're going.
He goes, I'm sorry, son. And he goes, I'm not your son.
And basically starts fucking with Wyatt. Yeah. And then Wyatt takes his gun out of his holster and hits him over the head. Which I think is like, that's the ultimate fuck you.
He flashes it like he would, like he raises his shirt and flashes his gun like
what's up?
He goes, I'm not your son. It was an accident. He goes, oh yeah, it was an accident. Like flashes like he's gonna do something. That's when he draws it out and bashes him up.
Immediately. Like with that, he's just like,
oh yeah.
And like there's no more fuck you than hitting someone with their own gun. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a big like
a pistol whip with your own gun. Pretty insulting.
Yeah. Like because you just look like a bitch
right
at that moment. Like that guy dropped.
Oh yeah.
And it's great. It's a great little scene. And they're basically like, there's you're gonna pay for this. It's coming.
Yeah. Like and this is when right before the OK Corral.
Yeah, the Battle of the OK Corral.
Which is that's
the famous
historically battle. It's a historical battle, which we'll get there here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple keynotes on
that. And Doc basically Wyatt's like, Doc, you don't have to be a part of this.
Yeah, like they're at the office, the sheriff's office.
Yeah, where they're all meeting because Wyatt's basically like, all right, fuck it, I'm in.
Because the mayor came around and told him that the Cowboys are over at the OK Corral, threatening to shoot him.
Yeah, they're gonna come after.
They're all carrying guns and they're all talking shit about how they're gonna kill the Earp brothers. They're gonna kill Virgil. They're gonna shoot him up and all that. And so Virgil is like, we gotta go disarm him. And Wyatt is like, no, we don't. No, you don't. Just let him be. And of course, Virgil's not backing down.
He's like, nope, it's gonna happen. It's the law.
And so Wyatt gives in. He goes, all right, well, let's go. And Doc's like, all right. And he looks at Doc like, Doc, this ain't your fight. And he goes, the hell it is.
Wait, he said that's a thing for you to say to me.
Yeah.
Like, what a thing for you to say to me instead of my fight.
Because, like, legitimately, I think Wyatt Earp is Doc Holliday's only friend.
In the world.
One and only friend.
So it's like, if you're going to go fight, I'm coming
like,
with
he's
you.
Like, that's like what true friends like. I've got your back no matter what.
Yeah.
You're done.
You want to go shoot some people?
I'm
coming.
Go shoot some people.
I got your back. And it's like, really, what a true, like, cold-hearted friend he is.
Yeah, well, Doc is carrying a cane at this point, and he looks at him and he goes, all right, well, if we're going to do this, let's do it.
But and Doc, you take the shotgun.
Yeah, he looks at Virgil and tells Virgil to give the shotgun to
Basically,
Doc.
He's like, Virgil, since you're leading this charge, they might not want to see you armed immediately.
Yeah. So they all walk, and they're doing this because this is like the poster of all posters right here. You
Is
see,
them
you
walking
see
together.
Tombstone, and you see this poster. It's those four, and they're like black coats and
Yeah.
suits walking down.
And Doc's whistling.
Yeah, and he's like, he's just all happy and shit. Just carrying
Is it?
shotguns.
And his life ain't gonna be that much longer. This is the epitome of fun
Oh,
for
yeah.
him right now.
So they're walking, and then this kid that comes up out of nowhere and goes, bang, bang, bang!
And almost gets shot.
Almost gets shot by Morgan, because Morgan now
Morgan is like scared.
shitless.
So he's
He's
gonna
like,
draw if he
"Oh
hears
my
noise.
God." He almost drew it out on this kid.
But it's like, man, that kid was pretty stupid to go up to a group of guys carrying guns and being like, "Ha ha!" Startled you.
But so they're doing this, and they get up to the OK Corral, and there's 6 cowboys, I believe.
They're sitting outside.
Yeah,
Ike being one of them.
Ike is unarmed at this point because he didn't get his guns back.
This
is right after he got out.
He's drunk, and he was
hungover,
and he was putting his head in water.
He's dipping his head in water, trying to wake himself up and do whatever. He's hungover, so he's trying to wake up, I'm sure. And they come around the corner, and everybody just kind of freezes, and Ike is like, and they're like, "All right, we're here to disarm you." And then everybody just kind of freezes, and it's that standoff type of moment.
Who's going to draw first?
Who's going to draw first? And you're looking at him, and then Virgil the entire time is like, "We don't want to fight. We don't want to go down like this." And it shows one of them. It's Billy, and he looks, and he got that look in his eye, and he's got his hand over, and his fingers are doing.
Well, it's great because he's looking at Doc, who's looking at him, and he's smiling.
Doc is just smiling at him. He's like,
and Billy starts to break. He's like, "Oh shit!" Because Doc's looking at him like, "If I'm killing one person,
I'm killing you.
It's you." He winks at him too. He goes,
"Oh yeah,
I'm gonna kill you."
Oh yeah. So he's doing the whole thing, and then like I like this part too. It's because it literally like it's just another badass moment of Wyatt because he knows it's going down. He goes, "Oh hell!" This under his breath, where nobody will probably hurt him
because he knows someone's about to draw.
He knows it's going down, and so the guys draw, and this epic gun battle starts. Which this was as historically accurate as possible.
Like the injuries are all real too?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I'd have to do actual research myself, but I know I'll get to it here in a second. But so they go down, they shoot, and one guy's hiding behind a horse, and Doc's got a shotgun and shoots the shotgun up.
Horse jumps
up in the air and then
shoots
the guy. Oh, dude!
That's a badass
smart moment right there. And then you got another guy, two guys before they even battle, they booked it like out the back, like there was a gate. And they like cut out and ran. They're like, not today. So there's like 5 left. I think there's about 7 altogether. There's about 5 of them left. And there's the battle. It gets shot. One guy gets shot in the leg. Morgan gets shot in the leg.
No, Morgan gets shot in the shoulder. Virgil gets shot in the leg.
In the shoulder, okay, right.
It's like right here.
Yeah. Well, I just remember him being on the ground, like spread out where it looked like he was.
And Wyatt unscathed, Doc unscathed.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, Doc is at a battle with one of the other cowboys, and he's out of ammo. He goes and clicks, he's out of one gun.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, which this is a historically accurate statement. Like these next 2 lines actually happened, and there was actually in the Tombstone papers back in whatever year this is. He goes, I got you now, Doc, you son of a bitch. And Doc, because this is one of the one-liners that Doc Holliday says, and it's actual historic accurate. He goes, "You're a daisy if you do," and he spreads his arms out, and he raises up to shoot him, and then that's when Doc shoots him, brings up his other gun, draws his other gun, and shoots him, and then Morgan shoots him in the head. But that line right there, that "you're a daisy if you do,"
he's legit said that. What a badass thing to say.
I want to meet the real Doc Holliday. You're a daisy if you do.
There's a chance he could shoot me, but I don't think you're gonna be the person to do it. And he said it brings up later too. He's basically like, if someone kills me, they're the best, but I doubt anyone's gonna do it.
No, and he dies of TB.
Yeah,
he's a bad motherfucker.
I like that. You're a daisy if you do.
And I swear, Val Kilmer's the accent he used in this, because Doc Holliday was a rich, educated man. He came from a rich family. But he chose this life.
The outlaw life.
He chose
not the outlaw life.
He gave up
con man.
He gave up all the riches he had because this is the life he wanted. Which
hell of a life.
He's good at it. So yeah, so he has that It's like the upper class Louisiana accent.
Yeah,
Is what I think
like a educated Southern man.
Yeah, and that's Val Kilmer's accent in this is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like it makes that role even better. Like if he just would have talked normal.
So yeah, and they shoot the shit out of Billy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they just unload.
And the whole time, Ike is like,
watching.
This is where it comes in. Ike is like, at this point, he grovels at Wyatt's feet.
He's like,
and Wyatt, I'm unarmed. Wyatt looks at him and he goes, get a gun. He's like, get in the fight or get the hell out or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
And he dives into through a window.
And that's where Behan and the girl are.
Takes his gun and starts shooting
out the window.
Not hitting anybody.
No.
Which you'd think for getting behind them, he would have hit them. But he did not hit them.
He's too much of a coward.
I don't think he was looking, and he's blindly shooting. He's lucky he didn't get shot.
Because Billy is his brother, and they just killed Billy, and at that point he's like screaming, Billy! And that's like the way he screams it is epic too. It's great. So I mean, like he's pissed off, and
Yeah, and basically war is on here.
This was the moment. This was the changing tide of this movie. It went from a nice, slow-paced drama, to
now
a full-on action.
We're at the Western point.
Now you're at the Western.
The wives show up, and they're like kind of recouping with them, making sure they're good.
Okay, everybody's all right.
Like a couple of gunshot wounds, but minor gunshot wounds. Everybody else vaguely unscathed.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys had their little funeral with the big sign that says "Murdered in Tombstone."
Yeah.
Murdered on the streets of Tombstone. And the deputy is mad about the Cowboys being killed. Like, they were my friends. It's like, you're a lawman. They shouldn't be your friends.
Well, and they bring up the fact that all they do is make fun of him and pick on him. They bully him.
Yeah. Like, he's their chick kicker, but they're like,
yeah.
But he's so too stupid to see it. And Ringo, he says he wants Wyatt's blood on his hands. Like he wants, it's a blood fight.
Yeah, because this was the night after, assumingly the night after the funeral, and Ringo is drunk as all get out, and he's like, I want to play for blood, and he's like, he wants to fight Wyatt, and he's like, I want to play for blood.
And Doc's getting,
and Wyatt just goes, tells him no, straight up, just like, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
And Doc's getting shaved at the barber shop.
Don't you know how to play? Don't you want to play for blood? And he goes, I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game.
He's getting a shave, and he does immediately. He's like, hold on a second, and just gets up and goes over, and he's got.
Yeah, he's already at this point. Like he's got his hand up like this, just on his chest. So he's not packing.
He's got one gun behind his back.
He's got his other gun behind his back, already ready to go. Like he's like, yeah, nice try, motherfucker. Let's go. And he's like, so he's up here, which this is like this is a non-threatening stance. Like, you see a guy with his hand behind his back and up here by his chest, non-threatening. Motherfuckers don't know he's got a gun in the back.
Well, Curly Bill does.
The Curly Bill saw it, yeah, and they came up and they were like, whoa, 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 whoa.
He's like, Ringo, no.
He's just drunk, and they take him off. They're just having fun and all that. So, I mean, right here, that I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game. Oh, guys.
He's like, yeah, you're going to try to shoot somebody.
I'll kill you. I'll shoot you.
He wants to.
He wants to kill
Ringo, especially after that whole Latin exchange with the gun slinging.
I wish I could. I want to know what they said. I wonder what they said.
Yeah, like what their lines were.
Yeah. I need to find out.
Well, there were more accurate newspapers. Then we cut to a stormy night. The only real weather we see in Tombstone that isn't just heat.
Yeah.
And Virgil is about to go home. He ends up getting shot in the arm.
And he comes back. And
back in.
What'd you forget, Virg?
He's like, Wyatt. He falls down.
So,
Morgan, he gets kind of pissed and he runs out to play pool, like angrily.
Because they had surgery or they got the bullet out and they're like, yeah, he's never going to be able to move his arm again.
Because the nerves that they had to rip to get the bullet out.
So, yeah, he's never
going to use that arm again.
So Morgan is out venting and
playing pool
in the middle of the night.
And gets shot in the back.
With I would assume a shotgun.
Yeah, it took him out. Yeah, pretty quickly. And Wyatt runs into Tex, Creek, and one of them was a cowboy. McMasters.
Yeah. And at that point, just before all this happened, somebody shot up their wives.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Their wives were at home, and they shot up the house they were at. Nobody got hurt there.
Well, because the one showgirl or whatever came in and
Yeah.
warned them, and then it happened. Had she not warned them, they probably would have been killed.
But a McMaster's came up and was like, I just wanted you to know that it wasn't us. And there was another cowboy too, but there was 2 cowboys there, and they were like, it wasn't us. We had nothing to do with it.
And he's like, if you need us.
And he's like, well, you guys, he's like, you're a cowboy. You're part of it. And he said, not anymore. And he drops his bandana.
Sash to the ground. And we get this image as Doc goes away, it blows away.
Yeah.
Which is like a really cool looking thing.
That was great.
And basically Wyatt comes out and sees Morgan dying. And they can't get the bullet out of his back. It's stuck.
And then they're screaming. And then this is where that foreshadowing earlier when they're talking about the light comes in. Yeah, you can go ahead with this one. And it's really sad because he's there, he's bleeding, and he was in Wyatt's arms, the older brother he looked up to. And he's like, oh hell, he said that's all bullshit about that light. Or he said, that's all bullshit. I don't see no light at no tunnel. And then he just dies.
Yeah. And then Wyatt stumbles out in the street, covered in his brother's blood, draining, like
screaming, why him? Why him?
Yeah.
Why it should have been me, you know.
As he feels this is his fault.
He feels it is. He feels responsible.
Because he brought them here.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets real pissed. Maddie leaves, and the one girl tries to come up to him, and he's like, can't you see like what's happening here? Can't you like get away from me right now?
Yeah, he's like basically telling her like, if everybody that's around me dies, stay away.
Yeah. And he's out there screaming about hell, and like he's bringing it with him. Does he say it here?
No.
I wrote that down.
No, you're just ahead of yourself.
Hold on.
So after all this, Wyatt, Verge, and the wives, Maddie, and
they have the funeral. They ride through town,
and they stop by
the Cowboys.
Stop by Curly Bill and Ringo and Ike, and he's like, "I want you to know that." He looks at Curly Bill and he goes, "I want you to know that it's done." Like basically just saying, "I give up. It's over."
Curly Bill goes, "Well,
bye." And then just kind of like demeanor on it. It's like the demeanor's
like fuck off.
Like it was so intense because it's just like, well, bye. Like he doesn't give a fuck. Like it's sarcastic and great the way just portrayed.
And then as they're leaving,
and then Ringo is like, "Smell that, Curly Bill? It smells like somebody died." Oh, I'm so fucked up.
And like you could tell like they're trying to play it cool.
Yeah, and
because Wyatt would love nothing more than
Curly Bill just kind of laughs and goes, "Damn, Ringo."
And then so they're going to the train station, and Curly Bill's like, "All right, Stillwell."
Looks at Ike and says, "Take Stillwell and finish it."
Yeah, basically like kill them before they get on the train.
So it shows Virgil, Maddie, and the women on the train, and Stillwell and Ike walk up, and they see, well, there's Virgil with the women. And Ike goes, "Virgil's mine. Like he's gonna kill it. Like Virgil, I got him. He's mine."
And it's Stillwell
goes, "Hey, Maddie,
where's Wyatt? He's right behind you, Stillwell."
Blows him away. He's behind you, Stillwell. Blows him away. And then at that point, Ike, like as soon as he hears the shot, Ike drops the gun. Just panics and drops to his knees.
Oh, would you want to turn around and try to shoot Wyatt? You ain't gonna hit.
Dude just drops to the ground and starts begging like a little bitch immediately.
And Wyatt cuts his face with a spur, which is awesome.
Oh, it is epic, yeah.
And he basically tells him, he's like, "If I see a red sash, I kill the man wearing it."
And he says, "You tell all your other Kurds that I'm coming.
Hell's
coming with me."
He's like, you tell him I'm coming. And I'm bringing hell with me.
And that's that part when they're talking about the pale rider horse on the pale horse.
The pale horse with death riding on it.
He didn't ride a pale horse, but Doc Holliday's the pale horse.
Is he?
Yeah, he's a pale horse. Because he's pale.
And then so we get this montage of Wyatt Earp and his crew just obliterating cowboy after cowboy.
My favorite one is when like Wyatt rides his horse through this fucking window. It's like a barber shop, I think, isn't it? And they just like blow it. Like fellas in the way. It's
Barbershop, there's like a brothel
yeah.
that they're shooting at.
Yeah, they go into the brothel and they catch a couple.
Well, it's funny because the one why it's like don't move. Doc's like, do move.
By all means, move.
And then they shoot the guy in the bed. I'm like, that's funny.
Well, another guy, there was another
There's a hallway.
They shot and they kind of turn their attention to that, and as they do that, this guy goes for a gun, so they shoot this guy, and it's just this whole montage of
killing
all these cowboys, just nonstop.
Then they end up in a fight with Curly Bill.
They're at a creek, and they're chasing and they're like walking across, and then they get Curly Bill and I think
one of his right hand people.
Yeah, one of the other guys was there. Nobody else by name that I can think of was there. But they're getting shooting, and then turns out there's this trap. They got some more behind him, and Curly Bill's. Well, it looks like we caught you in a little crossfire, you know.
And he's laughing because a bullet goes by his face. He goes, "Ha ha!"
They're all laughing. They're shooting at this point. We forgot to mention, but with Wyatt, they're all martialized. It's Wyatt, Doc,
McMasters, Creek and Tex.
So they got 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 guys all riding around being badasses and whatnot,
taking out cowboys left and right.
So they're all ducked down in cover, and then like you see Wyatt, and he just kind of sees like this moment, and he's like, I'm not dying today. I'm not dying. He gets out and he walks into the creek and starts just
and he's just going, no. Yeah.
And then Curly Bill is like, yes. So Curly Bill jumps out too, like from his cover, runs out to the creek, and he's like shooting at it. Wyatt's got his shotgun,
and the shots aren't hitting.
No, and nobody's hitting Wyatt out there.
And she's wide open. He should be getting hit.
So then Doc runs out.
Doc's like, shit, I got there.
Curly Bill and then he draws up shotgun. They blow Curly Bill away. And then Doc runs out. And then next thing you know, the other 3 run out, and they're all in the creek shooting.
Bam, bam, bam.
They kill a bunch of other cowboys, and then tell all the
So basically, Wyatt goes out there wide open and ends up killing like 4 or 5 people.
They got about 5 or 6. Yeah. And so they get to the point where like they all run off and whatnot. And they're all talking, and they're like saying how Ringo is probably getting, if they know Ringo, you're getting everybody together, and they're going to come after us hard. Mm-hmm. But then this is where your show comes into place.
Well, at first they talk about like, you know, like, dude, this guy like just walked through all that shit, didn't get shot. Yeah. And he's like, where's Wyatt? Where's Wyatt?
Where's Wyatt? And I love it. They asked Doc. He goes, well, where's Wyatt? Doc looks at him and goes, I'm by the creek, walking on water.
And it's like the man's immortal.
Like he can't die. He's a god right now.
And Doc's pale. He's coughing. He's hacking. He's barely up. And he's like, why are you doing this, Doc? And he's like, Wyatt Earp is my friend. And he's like, well, I got lots of friends.
I got lots of friends.
I don't.
And that shows the devotion right there, dude. Like this is so
like
great.
If you had one loyal friend like Doc Holliday, he's gonna be the one that ride or dies with you to the end.
It's great, dude. I love it.
Because he's like, yep. Basically, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna die. Probably out here doing this, but
he goes, Doc, you should be in bed. Why are you doing this? Wyatt Earp is my friend.
He doesn't have any friends. It's just Wyatt. So he's gonna do what he has to do for him.
That's all it is, man.
Crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. So we got past that. Then they come back and the actor was shot.
Yeah, they shows up and it flashes forward, and you see you got Behan, the sheriff, with all these cowboys, Ringo included, and Ike, and all the other miscellaneous ones. And the carriage comes up, and it's got the actress and the actor and a couple others. And the actor had been shot, and they said it was
because he called them cowards. Yeah, and they didn't like that too much,
so they shot him.
And Billy is upset. Not Billy was sad.
Billy Claiborne.
Yeah, he holds the man's hand. And immediately leaves. He's like, I'm done. So he leaves the cowboys like, let him go. So then sick Doc is taken to be cared for at...
Yeah, because after that, they were kind of spying on him. Mm-hmm. And before this, and then it shows Doc pass out on his horse.
Like she's just
So they find a ranch
that he could sleep,
and they take them to this ranch, and it actually turns out to be like a stop for carriages, traveling carriages. So they stop there, and they're got Doc in a bed and get him rested up, and that's when the carriage comes through that was just with the actress, and they find out. Wyatt comes out, and she sees him. He's wearing a scarf that she gave him and all that still and all that. And then they have a little conversation about romance and love and all that.
Well, it's because he's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, I forgave you the moment you said it. I'm like, Jesus, can we get back to the gunfighting?
Yes, please. Barf.
And Doc and Wyatt have this conversation about Ringo, because Ringo basically challenges Wyatt. He's like,
they got McMasters.
They killed McMasters, drug him by horse,
and they shouted out a little message saying, "Meet us."
They want
it's a final showdown between Ringo and Wyatt,
and it's 1-on-1.
It's 1-on-1, and it's over.
And basically, Wyatt's like, "I can't beat this guy, can I?" Doc's like, "No, you can't." And he's like, "Well, why?" And he's like, "Well, he's a man. He does what he does to spite the world that created him. Like, he's mad at the world for being alive.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna do a bunch of fucked up shit. He's pure evil, basically."
Yeah.
Wyatt's like, "Well, I gotta go anyway."
You know, like he has to.
Mm-hmm. He's not gonna back down on his word. He's gonna be there. So he goes and he meets up with the Cowboys who are going to take him to the place. And we cut to Ringo.
And it's like even then, it's like he looks at Texas Jack and Creek Johnson. He goes, "Once the shooting starts, you guys ride for the Mexican border
because they're going to come for you."
He's like
basically, when I die,
when I'm dead, you got to go. Like, run. He said, "Run, straight up."
And so he goes to fight, and Ringo's waiting for Wyatt, and you see a figure show up behind him. He's
little
like,
duster coat.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you actually showed up."
Showed.
And he goes, "I'm your Huckleberry," and it's Doc.
He says, "Oh, Doc." What did he say? He says, "My quarrel's not with you." And he goes, "Well, we had a game to play, or we have a game to finish."
And he's like, "We believe it was for blood."
He's like, "Oh hell, I was just fooling around."
I wasn't.
I was not.
It's like, oh shit.
And then at that point, it's like Ringo was scared, but he tries to play it off tough, and you can see it. And he goes, "Well, okay then."
Because Doc's just solid.
Oh yeah.
He's not.
Because Ringo, you see it where he's kind of like real sheltered back, and he's like,
because he wasn't expecting Doc Holliday.
And then he goes, "Well, okay then," and that's when he gets that crazy look.
Because he's like sweating profusely from it dying, but the eyes are solid.
Oh yeah.
Cold. And he's like, "All right, say when."
Say when. And they do this.
He's smoking a cigarette too.
Yeah, and they do this little, that little circle walk thing. And they're doing the little circle walk thing, and just kind of, I love the intensity in it because
you don't know.
You don't know, and then it's just it flashes back and forth between the eyes, and it's like the cold, hard eyes of Doc. It's epic.
And Ringo goes to draw. It does not say when.
It doesn't say when, just straight, and then Doc crosses over. And it's like over here on the side. It's not even straight.
Yeah, it's like
on the side.
Right here. And he's like.
And he's literally, it's almost like.
Trying to come at him, but he can't put together
and I can believe it because back then the bullets weren't as quite, they didn't. Now these bullets kind of
explode. It went kind of went in.
Straight in it. So, he still has some functioning left.
Yeah, but it fucked with his brain.
Yeah, so
he's
not
he knows what he wants to do, but he can't kind of do it.
And so he's kind of stumbling around.
Doc's like, come on.
And my favorite line is, he's like, "You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all," right in front of his face as he's dying, like just insulting him. Oh, I love this line.
He's like, "You thought you were faster than me.
Nice try." No.
You're not the one.
It's great. And then
Wyatt shows up.
Just running up.
Like, good thing he waited till after the guns were
drawn. Right? And he kind of
he's like, "Oh shit."
And Doc looks at him and goes, "I may have fake, my sickness.
Exaggerated about the
Exaggerated my
extent of my
sickness.
illness. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, because he knew that Wyatt wasn't going to be able to kill a
Well,
guy.
and I think he knew that Wyatt wouldn't let him go in his place.
Yeah. And he knew he wasn't going to be fast enough to do it. So he's like, I got to find a way to
"Oh."
get myself down there,
Right.
not him. Which, again, what a friend.
Mhm.
Then we get more cowboy killing. And basically, they're chasing Ike. Well, first they do this really cool horse trick.
Yeah,
Like Wyatt goes on the other side and he's hiding, so it looks like nobody's riding the horse. And then he shoots him around the horse. But yeah, they're chasing Ike, and he's like, "I give up."
It's Ike and Behan. They got Ike and Behan.
And he throws his sash.
Yeah, I wanted to see
So
Ike die
bad.
That's one thing I didn't like. Kill Ike.
And then basically we cut again, and Doc's in the hospital.
Yeah, Doc's in a hospital bed, and
days,
and it's like,
hours away from death.
Yeah, and it's like Wyatt. You can tell it's in the future. You don't know exactly how long. I don't even know.
Probably some time because they've killed pretty much every cowboy.
I don't even know if they. It might say, but it flashes, and it's wintertime, I think.
And then they were talking about it being spring. Like it was getting warmer.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's probably been almost like 6-7 months.
Yeah. So it appears that
like
he has been in the hospital for a while, and Wyatt has been going and playing poker with him
and he can't beat him. He's like, last time I checked, you're up like $7 or something. He's like, I don't want to play
anymore, Wyatt.
Yeah, but basically, Doc doesn't want him to see him die.
Yeah,
he's like, let me have my dignity on this one. You don't need to see me like this.
Saddest part of this movie right here is the conversation between them. He basically tells him like, go live your life. Mm-hmm. Leave me. I'm done.
He's like, you do me a favor.
Because he already had the conversation with his girlfriend.
Yeah. He's like, just do me a favor. Go do your thing. All right, let me be. Because he's like, he doesn't want Doc to see him, or Wyatt to see him dying deathly. It's like his pride. He doesn't want to be. He wants to be remembered as the gunslinging, poker playing, heavy drinking Doc Holliday, not the dying in a bed.
Right.
Doc Holliday, which is respectable in a way.
So he does.
He does this, and he
finds the actress, Dayla Delaney.
Live off room service.
They
dance in the snow.
And this is winter because they were dancing in the snow. And cuts out.
They cut out, and we learn what happened to these people later.
We got Robert Mitchum again talking, and it says what happened to Maddie. She overdosed.
Was killed in a bank robbery. Maddie died of a drug overdose.
Virgil, they lived out.
Virgil became a lawman, even though he only had one arm.
Yeah, out in California. Did he become a lawman, or was it?
He was a lawman. He said he once again became a lawman, even with the use of one arm. And basically, Wyatt Earp lived a long time.
Yeah, because like I believe it was
two Western actors.
John Wayne.
No, it wasn't John Wayne. And they said one of them wept.
Yeah,
because he was carried by two Western stars to his grave. Right at the end of the movie. But basically Wyatt got the hero's life.
Wyatt Earp died in 1929.
Which that's a lot. He was old.
Having never been so much as scratched by a single bullet.
And with all the gunfights he was in, that's amazing.
The fact his name is known above, for instance, Virgil's, who was the marshal of Tombstone at the time of the famous gunfight, is largely due to Wyatt's self-promotion. Before his death, he walked in Hollywood circles, and John Wayne once claimed to have met him, apparently modeling his famous walk on that of Wyatt Earp. I gotta find it.
He was carried by two Western stars, but it wasn't John Wayne. It was like people before John Wayne.
Yeah.
But still, he lived a long time. Because the 1920s, you know what I mean? Like, that's a long time after Tombstone time. Dude. So, like, Wyatt Earp must have been old. And, like, the typical lifespan of somebody back then was, like, 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Wyatt also became a consultant to the motion picture industry, advising on westerns after he moved to Hollywood in 1950. He frequently visited the sets of several silent films directed by John Ford, starring actor Harry Carey. In the movie Tombstone, the role of Marshal Fred Wyatt was played by Harry Carey Jr.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a nice little fact right
That's
there.
a nice little fact. Fun. That is a legitimately fun fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, so final thoughts, DJ. This is your movie to talk about. You know?
My final thoughts on this movie, this is like legitimately, this is probably easily top 5, possibly top 3 movies. Just opinionated faces of how much not that it's the best movie of all time, like, but it's just one of my favorites of all time. Like, I could watch this movie over and over again. I love it. Everything about it.
Okay. My final thoughts. I liked this movie more than I remembered liking it, which says something.
Mm-hmm.
The acting in this thing is top notch. And I think it's the definitive Wyatt Earp movie. There's a bunch. There's actually quite a few Wyatt Earp movies, but I think this one's the definitive one of all of them. Like, this is the go-to one. If you're gonna watch one, just watch this one. Yeah, like I said, it surprised me how much I really liked it more than I remembered liking it. Probably something I'm gonna go back and rewatch a few times. It's really good western.
It's a fun movie to watch.
Yes, it's like 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't.
So yeah,
even for like only half of it, like it's literally probably less than half is action, to where you're like, but even during the dramatization part of it, it's like you're in the movie. It keeps you involved.
So that was Tombstone. Next week we're going to be covering Arrival. Then we're going to cover Happy Death Day, and then we're going to do our top 10 films of 2018. Since we've had time to watch things and get lists together and whatnot. So, stay tuned for all that coming. There's going to be a lot more content coming out of this channel in the next few months. So, yeah, we're definitely working on all of that. We're making upgrades and things like that. But, yeah, overall, this was a really fun one to do. I really had fun talking about this movie. I really like this movie. So, yeah, stay tuned next time for Arrival, which is a movie I had not seen before. Come into fresh.
Another one of mine.
So yeah, really excited for that one. That's probably gonna be another positive review.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have very many.
Stay tuned next time. Talk to you later, Film Vomit fans.
Have a great night.